Protesters vowed to camp near Wall Street indefinitely, says Mega Media Associated Press, hamming up this article to make the activists on Wall Street seem disingenuous, lazy, and more. But, this article also states, Caitlin Lee, a 21-year-old from Rochester, New York, said she is going to move out of her apartment and stay here indefinitely because she's been so inspired by what she's seen. It's about creating a community in this liberated space, she said. It's about having the ability to have people's needs met, whether it be food, clothing, shelter. Every afternoon, the group convenes at the center of the plaza for what they call a General Assembly, a meeting during which they map out their tactics for the next day. Forbidden from using a microphone, the group got creative. The toll of listeria food poisoning infections tied to contaminated cantaloupe rose sharply Wednesday. Local, state and federal health experts are investigating the widening outbreak tied to Rocky Ford region brand cantaloupe shipped by supplier Jensen Farms of Granada, Colorado. On September 14th, the Federal Food and Drug Administration announced a recall of cantaloupes linked to the multi-state outbreak of listeriosis. The affected cantaloupes were shipped between July 29th and September 10th to at least 17 states and possibly more. NASA UARS re-entry possible Friday afternoon, says an official info source up at NASA missions page. It states, NASA's Upper Atmosphere Research Satellite, or UARS's re-entry is expected sometime during the afternoon of September 23rd, Eastern Daylight Time. The satellite will not be passing over North America during that time period. It is still too early to predict the time and location of re-entry with any more certainty. NASA says, the risk to public safety or property is extremely small, and safety is NASA's top priority. Since the beginning of the space age in the late 1950s, there have been no confirmed reports of an injury resulting from re-entering space objects. Nor is there a record of significant property damage resulting from a satellite re-entry. But, this is NASA, here, we're talking about. And we know, their track record. A 5.1 magnitude earthquake has struck the subduction plate of ocean crust southwest of Mount Tambora volcano. According to the USGS, the earthquake had a depth of 27 miles and the epicenter was 104 miles southwest of Bima, Sumbawa, Indonesia. Volcanic and seismic activity have swarmed around Indonesia in the past month, as the ring of fire continues to groan. From CBS News. TSA humiliates black woman, demands to pat down her afro. Isis Brantley was headed down an escalator at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Atlanta, after she was screened at the initial security checkpoint, when she says two TSA agents came after her asking to check her hair for explosives. From outside the Georgia prison to a public square in France, hundreds who believe an innocent man is about to be put to death congregated Wednesday to protest, knowing that Troy Davis had nearly run out of options to stop his imminent execution. Outside the White House, crowd protests pending execution of Troy Davis. A prayer circle has formulated in Houston, Texas for Troy Davis. News flash from Reuters, India. U.S. Senate panel votes restrictions on Pakistan aid. Mystery weed found on beaches. A mystery weed has been washing up on Hervey Bay beaches this week, and no one seems to know what it is. The Department of Environment and Resource Management and the Fraser Coast Regional Council were both scratching their corporate heads over the unknown flotsam, unable at this stage to even say whether it is a type of seaweed or algae. The weed appears to be clumps of soft, dark green strands about 10 to 30 centimeters in length, and members of the public have told the Chronicle about an awful smell it makes after being left behind in the sun at low tide. 18 people suffered minor injuries when scaffolding at a building under demolition in Harlem collapsed onto a New York City bus on Tuesday. The New York City Fire Department could not confirm the location of each of the 18 injured at the time of the collapse. They were taken to nearby hospitals. We we are working with our inspectors and engineers, as well as the police and fire department to determine the cause of the collapse, said Tony Sclafani, a New York City Department of Buildings spokesman. The Department of Buildings said that a demolition permit had been issued to Desano Demolition Company of Queens in June. A complaint about the safety of the demolition site was made to the city on September 7, but building inspectors subsequently found no problems. Desano Demolition could not be reached for comment. The CIA really wants to make Hollywood's next blockbuster. Ironic, you say, that an organization known for secrecy is doling out helpful hints to Hollywood? The CIA doesn't think so. For them it's all about image control. And they're just the start of it. The Department of Defense and just about every branch of the military has an entertainment industry liaison similar to the CIA's. If you want to make a war film and need a fleet of F-22s, a crowd of Marines, or a Navy aircraft carrier, just call up the Department of Defense's Entertainment Media Office and they'll tell you if the Army can spare that Abrams tank you've always wanted for a day or two of filming. Hollywood has been working with government organizations to make more credible films for years. For instance, Jerry Bruckheimer and Paramount Pictures worked closely with the Pentagon when filming the 1986 blockbuster Top Gun. But the phenomenon is under newfound scrutiny, thankfully. Amazon employees carried out a 115-degree warehouse by paramedics. Internet retail giant Amazon.com is facing outcry over the revelation that workers at one of its warehouses had to be carried out by paramedics this summer after working in a closed-door environment that reached 115 degrees. The story was broken by the Morning Call newspaper, which interviewed 20 current and former employees of the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, warehouse and uncovered stunningly bad working conditions, with employees being escorted off the premises on a regular basis if they could not keep productivity at a certain level in the 100-degree heat. Kindergarten and first-grade students are now required by law to participate in monthly terrorism drills, including active shooter, bomb threat and evacuation drills. On Day 5 and Day 6 of Occupy Wall Street protest, the NYPD began taking away signs from peaceful protesters. Be sure to visit War on Error's page for updates and views on this occupation and also for weather and dam reports in the US and abroad.